Okay, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are gonna do another 1v4. We got Dragon over here, Team 1 in the ANS, and we got Team 2 with Toasty Medic, Raw, Sakura Fritz, CW6421, what a name, and Random Sauce on the OSP team. Some blues, some silvers in here, and yeah, I'm ready. So glad that I've got a trained pet monkey to do these and entertain us all. I mean, well-respected and known Discord moderator Dragon, who is a highly skilled Nebulous player, and definitely not 3 monkeys in a trench coat. That's a rumor. Don't believe it. It's here to provide us with a good show. We're on. Oh crap. Yeah, I don't know what map this is. It was in the screen. It was in the main screen. But I spent so long on that joke, in the lobby screen, I should say. I spent so long on that joke that I forgot what map this is. This is a map I haven't been to before. It's got some rocks on it, as you can see. 6 points, which is interesting. Last one before we saw with Dragon, he just balled up and bullied the opposing force. Okay, we're dropping down with his 9th fleet. Ooh, I like the space rocks. They're kind of moon rocky looking. Neat. Does tactile map do the thing? Yeah, awesome. Oh, Dragon with a very large... Right, this is a 1v5, not a 1v4. I'm sure if you were able to count in the main screen, unlike your caster, you would have noticed... Oh, god damn it. This is a... Guys, we need to leave. There's a black hole. Guys, stop having a space fight here. This isn't safe. I don't think this is OSHA approved. This is not an OSHA approved war zone. Okay, so we got 2 combat experts, 2 combat voxels, tons of DC out of both of them. God, it's so much damage control, man. I gotta start doing this. Because it's really good. It just pains me to fill my insides up with damage control instead of more tools for murder. But it actually is really good. As we saw in the past, 1 or 2 or 3 of these I've casted. I don't remember how many of these I've actually casted because I've seen quite a few. Some like support reigns with missiles and actually jammers, and the missile is for AMMs or chaff, presumably. Yeah. Sarissa team. Some rails this time around. Okay, pararail keystones. Haven't seen that yet. Some gun scouts, then a couple missile scouts, and Pinards. Elint is... Oh, Elint is so good. Look at this map. Who made this map? This is awesome. And how did you do this thing? Yeah, I don't know who made this map, but if you happen to come across this video, I'm a huge fan. It's just really cool. Also, thanks for not making the black hole steadily pull all ships and objects to it, because that would be ass. God, this is cool. I haven't even looked at the OSP team. I'm too busy talking about Dragon. Alright, so we got a fighting Ocello team. Another combat Ocello. Good, I'm glad to see more people bringing Ocellos. With some roll-offs and C-53s. That's an interesting combination. 1 roll-off and C-53s on tugs. I've seen quite a bit. And I'm not sure why. I feel like that's not going to be enough saturation to get through any meaningful PD. But, okay, we got another combat Ocello with decent PD and a little bit of EOR. Pair of mass drivers. Just mass drivers. No point defense on this. That's a risky business. I mean, maybe it's fine. A little known secret that I've kind of discovered is that Dragon doesn't really bring much in the way of missiles. I mean, he brings some, so you do need to bring some point defense, but he doesn't, like, bring missile cruisers. And he doesn't have a voxel loaded down, at least not from any of the ones I've seen. I don't know, maybe he'll put that into his rotation if anyone starts to figure that out. Bloodhound. Oh, mass drivers and grazers. That's a hell of a combination.
Enemy secured zone Atlas.
What's going on over here? Might notice that we've got the fight music. That's because I was just in a match and I didn't turn off my game stuff because I always forget to do that because I'm a silly, silly man. Yeah, I didn't want to take the time to go and get my music dealy set up. So we're just gonna listen to the customary spectator fight music the entire match. Toasty Medic with more fighting Ocellos. Yeah, this team's got a lot of meat, but it doesn't have that much firepower. Was F just called Fulton? Interesting. Yeah. And also doesn't have a lot of speed and adaptability, at least not if the tugs are going to stay in close escort to their Ocellos. Oh, these Ocellos way far away from the fight. It's going to be a while before they're able to contribute much. And this Ocello and tug team kind of caught out by definitely overwhelming force. It's a couple of beamer, well, those aren't anywhere near in range. With this Axford and, well, just the Voxel, but I don't think this Voxel wants to fight right now. It actually took a lot of damage from that rocket barrage. And, ooh, the Axford actually the one getting caught out. Ton of match, Fulcrum, that's what it is. Okay. Space NATO confuses me. Good hits coming here, but man, those DC teams just boop, 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 fixing everything up like it's nobody's business. What are these shooting at? What are y'all shooting at? Are they shooting at one of these sprinters with an abysmal track? Oh, railfire into this team. Bonk. Where's that going? God, there's so much. I really like the background of this map because it's really easy to see bullets. I know it's just basic black. It's like depths. Well, it's not even that. God damn, this is fucking beautiful. Actually, who made this? Who made this map? I'm gonna have to find this map after this. I'll have to ask Dragon in the AAR what this map is because this is gorgeous. This is actually the most beautiful map I've seen. End of conversation. Sorry to all the map makers out there. I don't know if I definitely haven't been here enough to decide whether or not I like the map as a battlefield, but I think it's just beautiful. It's unimaginably beautiful. As I've been doing that, this support range has been taking a lot of damage. It might be very problematic in the long run because these Sarissas are extremely useful in missile defense. Well, there wasn't really all that was bringing missiles is random sauce and a small handful of Tempests, or yeah, whatever those are. Those might not be the defaults. So no S2 spam and certainly no container spam. So those Sarissas might not be that important, but losing a ship is still losing a ship, obviously. Let's turn that on. Hybrids getting down by Sarissas. More fire. Look at all these weird sight lines. This is neat. Weird, thin 3D sightlines. This little gun scout getting torn to smitheroonies. He's gonna get sucked into the black hole after he dies. Lustus and Solare going for Cap. Superia was as well, but he's getting bullied. Are you firing? Oh, that is such a colossal waste of munitions. This thing is already mega dead. Just from guns, but he's firing some 200s at it. And now it's, oh, and 2 of those are gonna miss. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, that's not great. It is not great.
The enemy is securing zone combat.
No way it makes it all the way over there. Yeah, no way, no way. I'll lose my mind. That is so far. Yeah. No way. How much fuel did you put in these things? Okay, they're really gonna scout them, or they just exploded on their own, running out of fuel. OSP is actually behind on points, which is crazy. Considering how thick Dragon's fleet is. I mean, he's got enough scouts to get the early caps. The OSP team just kind of balled up over here in this quadrant of the map. These Ocellos off by themselves, and I'm really worried about them just getting caught by something. Well, maybe not, because the bulk of Dragon's combat team is over here as well. Is this medic or CW? This is medic. Okay. Yeah, medic's been around. He's a decent player. Oh man, that's something really satisfying that I've started to figure out. With all the time I've spent casting, I'm starting to get kind of a feel for what players are good at what, so I can predict and preempt people's behavior in a cast a little more effectively than I have been able to. So for those of you who enjoy that side of things, there you go. I know I certainly enjoy doing it. Look at this. Yeah, oh god, I'm basically just being a cameraman and yammering right now, because there's 3 different fights happening right now. We've got this team firing at the support ships in here. We got the Rails firing at the Ocello, and the Ocello fighting the Voxels. The Voxels are also fighting the Tugs, and the Tugs are fighting back now with the Tempest. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be the last of their munitions. No, they got a couple more. And also, unfortunately, I don't think any... Well, yeah, it's just defenders, so some of these are going to get through, but they're all the ones that get through. Wow, a lot of them get through. They're all going to be soft-killed. And... looks like going to be no collaterals. This beam team finally getting range now that this Ocello is pushed, and beams on an Ocello are instant death, especially if you can get good angling and cut the reactor out from, or the engine. No, what is this, a reactor or an engine? Oh, it's, okay, so he's bringing 2 engines, a whiplash and a dry yard. God, that is actually such a fantastic combo, by the way. Also getting railed on the side. One of the support reins getting beat to hell by Ocellos and mass drivers. And so back to what I was saying about the map, it's really easy to see what's happening on the map. Unlike some of the brighter maps like Cicada, or Caltrop, you can easily see that there is gunfire coming from these guys and these guys into that guy. So we can be over here, we can be watching this, but we can also have an angle that shows us this. And even another Ocello is getting some crossfire in. So that range taking a ton of damage. These Voxels taking a bit of damage, but this Tug team, I think, is about to get wiped out because it's supporting Ocello is extremely heavily damaged, and that's really where all the damage comes from on this little group. I mean, the C-53's add, especially against Voxels, but this buddy is your center point of the fleet. It's big mass driver hits coming in here on the Libertas. Not as big as you want, though. The nose of the thing is all kinds of messed up, but it looks like that's all that's going to get messed up for now. The bottom turret's a little damaged, and a couple compartments are a little damaged. Ooh, mass driver's going into Voxels, but it seems like these Voxels are unlocked. Yeah, definitely not locked. So those aren't going to be that accurate. This beam is... that has to be a visual bug. Or... Dragon's just being a silly guy and position firing? I guess so. And he's also battle shorting while position firing? I don't know what's happening over here. Alright, let's go take a look at the damage actually that happened on these ships. So this support Ewar Reigns got destroyed. This Sarissa Reigns is heavily damaged. This scout's fine. these voxels and this voxel singular and this Axford have taken up positions towards the center of the map. They can really exert some pressure here on the outer end of the OSP fleet. Could even rotate around to go after the monitors, but that might be a little too ambitious. There's not that much cover in between here and there. This voxel team, or Ocello team rather, still off in the corner of the map, kind of on its own, just protecting Echo and not really contributing, unfortunately. It's a rather large map. I would like to see them rotate around. I can understand them not doing that because unsupported Ocellos are, well, they're not that good. They really need other ships around to fight alongside. Like, 2 Ocellos puts out the damage and is fairly survivable, but they really need, like, 1 bulker with them to shine. To truly, truly shine. And unfortunately, this team didn't bring any bulkers. I think that's actually the biggest issue. Because they don't have the raw firepower to fight all of this. Could you bring 1 bulker or a... Yeah, like 1 bulker. It doesn't matter. Fit it with 450s. Fit it with plasma to multiply the force of everyone else. Fit it with 250s, I think, and just be smart with the positioning would also be good. You could do the T-30 plasma turret double whammy, but no one brought any bulkers. Everybody's bringing beefy meaty boys. I think the monitor choice for mass drivers is really interesting and a little odd. I feel like you'd be able to get so much more out of a bulker with mass drivers on it, just because they tend to be more mobile than monitors. I'm certainly not mad at this fleet. This is fine. It's just not to my taste, I guess is the way to phrase that. Explosion over there. Oh, they are man, these things are more mobile with a yard drive than I was expecting, I'm gonna be honest. They rotated targets real fast. Hell, they might even... I might be completely wrong. These might be more mobile than a yard drive. One of the Spectres dips. In a bulker. As far as, like, turning around. Obviously, the top speed is probably lower, because cargo feeders are fat, but rotating around a small point like that. Alright, the scout gonna take it out. These can keep pushing and rotating around the map. They could actually get in here and start bombing Dragon's backline. Not sure if Medic... It looks like that's exactly what Medic wants to do. Or maybe he just wants to kill this scout. Well, the scout's basically dead. So yeah, he rotates through Delta and either goes to Alpha or tries to meet up with this team, which has miraculously continued to hold the line in spite of a very overwhelming force over here with 2 beam DDs and 2 combat voxels. This small group of tugs, that's like... This is seriously probably like 5,500 points just with these 3 or 4 ships. Maybe closer to 4.5. What is that? That's kind of weird. On the rock there, the little visual effect. Yeah, it's probably like 4.5 or 5. Because he did bring a lot of DC lockers. Well, they are large lockers, most of them, so maybe it is closer to 6. Because large lockers are expensive as hell. They really are. And Dragon's starting to realize that it's oops all Ocellos. We got, how many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Ocellos. Hold on, wait a minute. I got a great joke. All right, everybody shut up. That's really funny. That is incredibly funny to me. Just the image of a giant container ship launching equally giant, well, maybe not equally, but also very large Ocellos. Alright. Digging around is over. This Ocello right here has been standing off, and so have these, and they've been dishing out the damage. Unfortunately, these are getting locked and railed. But that's not too bad. The problem's going to be when the Invictus opens up with his 450s, which it's doing right now. These are taking down this Voxel. Well, trying to take down this Voxel. Not dealing that much damage to it. But, yeah, pretty decent angling for the OSP team. Even the Tug Fleet getting in on this, since they've kind of managed to stalemate these over here. I'm not sure what the deal is, but these just do not want to go around this rock. I don't think this team realizes that all that's over here is one Ocello and 4 tugs. I think they think that there's like a bunch more Ocellos behind this rock. And I mean, I guess there are back here. But I think they could just like push through, kill all this, and then back off and then rotate around pretty easily. But he doesn't want to fall into a trap. He also might be thinking that there are some mines around the backside of this, because that would be genius. Speaking of, I don't think Dragon has any hang-ups. No, he definitely had a hang-up on something. I saw it. I remember seeing it. Who knows where it is, though. I'm not going to go searching for it. These Ocellos getting railed pretty effectively, and the Voxels opened up on them as well. So fire from... oh boy, that's going to stretch even me. Intimiratus and Inviolabilis. Combined with the Invictus and the Eratus are going to push the Equal Gush and the Free Trio back. Pretty forcefully, in fact. Counterfire mass drivers going into this Voxel, but not able to get a very good angle on that. Oh my god, look at this paper thing cover. This is just like a grown-ass man standing behind a telephone pole. Pretending he's hidden. Damn. All the tertiary tools of this thing have been damaged, but the guns are still working, and one of the drives is still working, technically. I want to see these guys get into the fight! They could add so much. Rotating around the corner here. Sorry, Dragon, but I'd kind of very much like to see you lose one of these, because I haven't actually seen that yet. I've mostly only seen Dragon wins. Man, incredible amount of damage going into that Voxel. It's dead now. It's basically dead, and it's going to get closed off. Okay, 7 restores? And more lockers? Okay. Well, it's not even close to dead, actually, unless they truly, truly finish it. Friggin' zombie ships. And this team over here is finally pushing around this rock. Looks like it's they want to go after the tugs first. I mean, that makes sense. Put the guns on the tugs to blow them up pretty quickly and easily, and then you put the beams on the Ocello, which will just remove that from existence. And I really want to watch those lasers open up, but I feel like what's going over here is pretty important too. Oh, okay, just a split second of beam there across the entire screen. The Medusa taking damage, but not as much as I was thinking that it would. This player's doing a pretty decent job with the bow tanking. That's good. Ocellos really need that. And he's just continuing to lay fire down with impunity. Getting some supporting fire from the Equal Gush and the Free Trio. I think he'd be better served shooting the Invictus at this point. I don't know, maybe kicking these back is a good idea, but I think this fleet is pretty much lost at this stage. There's just too much here. This is like 3 players worth of fleet right here. Look at that. It's a felonious amount of DC Larkers. That's not fair to anybody. It's too good. Yeah, there's your balanced discussion post. DC Lockers OP removed, please. What is this? This Ocello just able to barely duck out of the beam's range, and the beams don't want to waste their time on the friggin' tugs. So they're stuck chasing it around this mountain. Oh my god, that's a really good play. Unfortunately, he's opening himself up to getting hit in the back by, well, not much, really. The Invictus, which is, yeah, now firing. But it's kind of got its own problems with the Medusa and the Gush of the trio. This is what he's going to fire at, which is actually a really good idea because the angling's really bad for the player. Down here. I think these Ocellos are getting into the fight. Yeah, they are. Toasty Medic after question mark minutes in game. Because we don't have a timer, I can't keep track of things. I guess I can look at the recording. 27 minutes, more or less. Is finally getting some shots off. Invictus has dipped behind cover to not get bombed by monitors anymore, but he's opened himself up to this team right here, and they are bringing 450s. And that, well, they're bringing 450s and 250s actually. Still though, that's going to be very painful, right in the butt of the Invictus. That's pretty devastating. S2's coming out. Are they going into the dead ship? Yep, they're going into the dead ship. Nice. Seems like Foxtrot is getting capped, and Delta's also getting capped by the OSP. I think they're doing pretty well militarily, but might also be able to win off caps. This stupid ship has resurrected. All of its guns are working. Most of its internals are shot, but it can fire. It ain't gonna be going anywhere fast, god damn. But it can fire for a little while. Anyways, obviously it's not gonna take much to put it out of commission. But from just completely stuck and frozen to, and like, I don't know, 75 restores to back in action and firing. Black magic is what that is. That's some like Star Trek level ship repair. Oh, Captain, we blew up 7/10 of the ship in a crazy maneuver. It'll take 3 hours to fix the whole thing and make it good as new. Okay, whatever. So during this rotation, that's what happened. During this rotation, the team that rotated the opposite direction managed to cap Foxtrot, which is just legendary. Unfortunately for the entire OSP team, now that these guys are no longer dealing with these guys, they can just kind of fire on everything back here. There's nothing challenging this flank. Well, the Dragon's lost a lot of his firepower with his voxels being down, and his beams have been not super effective. And they've been very effective at killing this specific Ocello, but relative to their time on the battlefield, they just haven't been able to shoot it very much. And I don't think they're going to have a very good time running up on this Ocello group back here. They might be able to rotate around onto these guys since they're all pushed up and alone. But that's going to be a trick. Speaking of people who are alone, the railguns are getting shot at. Oh, that's really bad. You do not want your backline getting shot at, especially since those are bringing 250s as well as 450s. The 450s are probably mostly going to be punching through the destroyer, but the 250s are going to deal a lot of damage if they hit, of course. Which a lot of those shots weren't. This Ocello is still getting beamed. It's dead though now. Doesn't want to take any chances. It's actually this, I think, holding down the point. Yeah, it's this tug. Keeping this point from being capped. It has a functional weapon. The Invictus turning around to try and deal with the ships. Unfortunately, he's in a pretty bad spot to be pointing his butt this direction. He's going to take a lot of damage into that drive cluster by the OSP team. Oh, there was a sneaky beam back here. I wasn't expecting this. I figured this was just another scout or rail ship or something. Sneaky beam, maybe it'll get a ton of damage in. Is this on the 250? Oh yes, this is on the 250. And I think he's position firing this beam into that drive cluster. With how much, look at that. All right, turning off the battle short after a lot of damage getting out. Ouch. Getting some debuffs, not good. The 450 is still able to do a good volume of damage. Good God. 450 is still able to do a really good volume of damage, especially since the thing's nose is pointed this way, so the 450 rounds will just clatter through every single compartment, dealing that completely catastrophic amounts of damage to this beam ship. You better, well, I don't think this thing's going to be firing another shot. It's going to need some more 50 rounds. Yep. Invictus trying to get out of sight. Team Ocello taking a pretty hard win. Yeah. Yeah. That is the problem.
The enemy secured zone.
Those are really good.
Securing zone eclipse.
And it sucks because I like having Ocellos on my team, but I really don't like using Ocellos because they're just ANS ships. Why would you play the OSP if you're just gonna play an ANS ship? Because that's what they are. And I like bulkers and shuttles, monitor. Well, I don't really use monitors that much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Yeah, they're just a goddamn menace. And it allows you to get a lot of 450 guns on the field as well. That's something else, especially when you have everybody on your team using them and then just using other stuff as support. Which is kind of funny because the Ocello is intended to be the support. It's a command cruiser. Yeah, these beams, not able to get as much done. Oh, that was the behind beam. God. In one shot, this is why you battle short your beams, folks. We can see how powerful that is. In one single beam blast, battle shorted, of course. Battle shorted for a lot of it. It did almost 6k damage. It got immediately destroyed. Yeah, ridiculous amounts of 450. That's what I was talking about. Is the only real counter to Ocellos, I think, is equivalent number of Axfords. Because Axfords are just a little tankier. And they've got the bottom turret. Well, no, because their rear turret won't face forward. What the I mean, beams obviously wreck Ocellos. But you can't hit them with missiles. And there's no great damage out of anything. Here. And you can, the voxel, the way to beat them with voxels is you have to hit them from the side, but sometimes that's not really feasible, especially on a map that's so open. Because shooting them straight on with voxels is not a good play. Man, I guess I'm gonna need to make an Ocello team and mess with those more. Yeah, not amazing damage out of anyone, but just good, consistent, strong damage out of all these Ocellos. Alright, well that was the match. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I certainly did. It was interesting seeing Dragon lose one. Because he played well. That's something I really appreciate about when Dragon loses these, is watching someone who plays well lose. Right? If that makes any sense. Because it's one thing to see just a complete stomp one way or another, whether it's ANS stomping or OSP stomping. And it's kind of hard to learn much from that. It's quite something else when you have roughly comparable teams playing well. And obviously that happens in other matches. We've seen plenty of those. But it's just this particular instance made me think of that. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Good night.